We are the 99% of rock and roll.
So yes, more violence.
More violence.
More violence. Yeah, so you want to read the article from Breitbart here quick?
Yeah, it looks like Nigerian Muslim militants have killed 120 Christians in 3 weeks, which is that's kind of rookie numbers, but that's still a lot of people.
My question is, okay, we did a live thing yesterday about the shooting in New Zealand, which was 49, right? Death toll was 49.
Yes. Yep.
Where's the coverage on this? It's kind of like a world disaster of much higher death toll than
Well, obviously the media doesn't care about black people.
I don't know. They were Christians, and the killers were Muslims.
Yes. All right. So on Monday here, what does it say? What happened on Monday? Where'd it go? All right. Monday's incident, it doesn't tell us about the incident here, followed an attack the day before in the Ungwan Barde village where 17 Christians were killed and dozens of homes were burnt. In the first week of March, Muslim extremists massacred more than 30 Christians, setting fire to several houses and a church. It's very Norwegian black metal. It's, like, they've been listening to way too much of Varg.
Yeah, Vikernes, yeah.
Yeah,
he's a bit of an asshole, but he's an honest guy.
I read this earlier. I can't see it from here. I think it was up top, but there is this Muslim jihadist group. Not was Boko Haram is the one of them, right? This is one that's apparently more dangerous. Apparently, they split up into 3 groups and ran into a village. One group were shooting at people. The other group was burning down buildings, and the last group was hunting down fleeing victims to kill them.
Wow,
it sounds pretty vicious.
Yeah, that's good organization there. Fulani jihadists.
Fulani, yes.
Fulani. Yeah.
Apparently, it only matters if somebody matching our complexion commits atrocities and butchers people for who they are.
Yeah, and it also matters more in the very rich, well-to-do 1%er kind of countries.
Yes, yes.
Because these people don't give a fuck what happens to Nigerians. Like,
No.
even if a white man went and shot up a bunch of people in Nigeria, a bunch of Nigerian Muslims, well, then it would just be, spreading democracy or something. But we only care about it if it happens here.
Or in
that
New
actually,
Zealand. Which
here.
is here,
Yeah.
Western here, right?
Yes.
really quickly, Arnold, what you just said, you don't have to pull it up now, and I doubt I'll even add the screenshot, but there was a story from a long while ago, I want to say like 6 months ago or more, about this white Christian guy. I don't remember if he was a pastor or whatever, but he was an asshole. He was screaming the N-word at these black workers at this in some sub-Saharan African country at this resort, and this asshole started attacking the black guys, and he was a white guy, and it got almost no coverage. So it does go to show that that's maybe the one time that somebody matching our complexion doing something like that to people and actually being the asshole, it doesn't even get coverage because it's not a nice, well-to-do first world nation, or at least it's not something that they feel is worthy of exploiting.
Yeah, it's especially because that guy probably has some good banker friends, and if he's not one himself, but
and it probably wasn't South Africa. You should get it. You know what I mean? South Africa is legitimately Dutch property. Okay,
right?
They founded it when nobody was there. They worked hand in hand with I forgot what tribe they were there, but they got along, and then the Zulu came up from up north. And massacred both of them.
I think you're referring to the Bantu,
Yes.
but before the original inhabitants were the San people, S-A-N, not the sand from Star Wars or the other kind,
Tatooine?
which some argue are not people. Oh, I gotta be careful. But no, yeah, what it was is that, and again, that's another example, right? So Zulu and Bantu can massacre San, fellow individuals of that complexion, and nobody cares. Nobody gives a care, right? But again, if Dutch Boer go there, and I mean, was there some amount of fighting at some point? I'm sure there was some, but overall, if you look at the history, like Scotty said, and I did do my research on it, they were accepted overall as a tribe, and there were very few inhabitants in many of these regions. Those people built the farms. So what these assholes are trying to do by basically exterminating these people for having the same complexion of us is disgusting. So Ramaphosa, whatever that asshole's name is, that asshole Malema, that ugly son of a bitch, these assholes, and they're also using ideas of communism founded by individuals that look like those with our complexion. So there's doesn't seem to be much originality of thought even there. You know, it's just an interesting coincidence.
Well, okay, of course there's no originality of thought. The average IQ of sub-Saharan Africa low 80s, I think. You know what I mean? And that's considering the
That's
higher
high.
intelligent people in various areas. When you get to Somalia, it's literally 60 something.
68.
Yeah, 68.
I know that from all the little jingles with the pranks on the other shows that we won't mention right now with the 68 IQ Somalis. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so. You're not going to have much in the way of thought. If speaking of communism in Africa, I'm sure everybody's seen the photos of Nelson Mandela and Minnie, by the way, who got famous burning people to death, putting a tire full of petrol over some Negroid's head and lighting it on fire.
Yeah, it's very compassionate.
That's called necklacing, and Mandela was a piece of shit. He's celebrated as a hero for essentially bringing what would later become, if not outright communism, to that region. I mean, were there problems with apartheid? Sure, it wasn't a perfect system like that asshole Don Lemon said about Antifa, but it's like at least there was order. And even with, if you want to overlook some of the quote atrocities or mistreatment, everybody had a higher quality of life. There was running water. There wasn't just disease everywhere. And then it's like,
Apartheid was freaking heaven on earth, and Bernie Sanders would agree. Okay?
He's going to bring it back, folks.
He's bringing it back.
He's bringing it back everywhere.
Yep. He's going to make everything peaceful again by allowing whites to do what they do best and increase the standard of living for the entire world.
He wants a
I thought you were going to say
a one-world apartheid government.
It's true.
Yep. There's just one government, but you know, there's this heavy duty caste system.
I'm wondering if this video I'm enjoying this video very much, but I'm wondering if it's going to be able to be shown on my channel now. Let's hope. I don't need strikes already.
Could be fine.
At least
there's no you've already promoted violence, and that's about the that's worse than what we're doing here. So
hey Missy, I promoted self-defense queen. Get it right.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, well, that's.
I didn't say I was.
What's hey guy.
Yep.
I just showed off the gear a bit, and I just was, well, I'm not going to take it out again, but it's borderline. But that's one real issue with this whole thing. And since this series, what is this thing called? Real fake news.
I think that's what we're going to call it. We'll write a riff, by the way, guys. Anybody who's absorbing this content, we'll get it down.
Yep, and we're going to start a whole new obscene channel where we're going to do stuff like this, and shit.
It's to the point. I know there was some controversy a while ago about gun videos on YouTube. I believe that was one of the adpocalypse issues. But it's like, who's to say before these assholes on YouTube or Face Shit or Twitter that own and operate police everybody's speech, right? These far leftist assholes. Who's to say that suddenly just having a firearm on you is not automatically violence? Like, even if I'm instructing you, okay, I chambered it. I should should probably pop out the round. See, gun safety. There we go. Okay, so even that was all impromptu. Even just doing that, that's the cheap one anyway, the Smith, that ain't the good Glock. But even just, Scotty has that same gun. Even just doing that could be perceived as causing emotional distress or violence. You know, I do wonder about that. Do you guys ever think like...
That's the whole thing. So, I mean, promoting violence, what's your definition of the initiation of violence? You know, I don't want to get all... autistic and cap on it, but that's something we can continually discuss. Like, you know, I just got in an argument during that thing, and cap thing last night with somebody. He's like, "Oh, it's pretty simple, self-defense." I'm like, actually, that's a real kind of philosophical debate that has not come to any conclusion yet on what counts as defensive force.
No, yeah, and it varies in pretty much every jurisdiction, and even like, for instance, here in Florida with the stand your ground laws, like even that is vague to an extent. Like for fear of one's life, or you're just not required to retreat. But what is fear of one's life? And that's when lawyers and all of them get involved in that. So it's all a big gray area. Yeah, but anyway, I mean,
yeah,
oh yeah,
vague law language that you can make anything out of that you want. Anything.
You know, one thing that I do want to say on my old channel, I don't think I'll shout that on here, but I definitely shouted this new one from there, or I will. I already recorded the video. Is like, you know what? I knew that there was all this censorship and some level of sensitivity or political correctness anyway. Like even many years ago, I've been on and off YouTube since I was like, Jesus, like 19, 20 years old. You know, I'm old, 31 now. But the thing is, like, I always knew that there was the hate speech and all these kinds of prohibitions, but it's like that has expanded so much more to where I said this in a video before, and I'll say it again in another video, even on my old channel and here, wherever this ends up. I'll say that, like, it's not worth even being on certain social media platforms if you can't express yourself. Like, if I cannot show this thing and I'm not, you know, I'm not even pointing the barrel at the camera, right? So it's like, if I can't do that, if I can't show that I even have knives on me, or do like a knife review, or say like with that asshole Greenstein that punched that conservative kid, and that conservative kid was a pussy. The fact that asshole got that close to his face, it's like, dude, you should have just started fucking his face up, or if you had a weapon, that's the time to use it, right? But sorry, I don't want to get off on a rant, but the point is, like, if I cannot express to you in self-defense what I would have done or what I would have had on me, hypothetically, in the most reasonable means possible, and if I can't say certain other things regarding maybe fantasies of like, yeah, you know, if there were an alligator pit and somebody pushed old Greenstein boy, or Ilhan Omar, or Obama, or even a Republican, you know, even like Paul Ryan, some scum. Yeah, like, well, I don't know, I wouldn't want to push Trump.
Feed the orange man to the gators. In Minecraft,
you
right?
asshole.
Yes.
Come on, he doesn't deserve that. Feed you to the gators.
I think he might. I'm on the bird train, bro.
Scotty, I think a few good bites to the arm of Trump, maybe a little to the head.
He's got to lose a limb. He's got to lose a limb.
Damn. Well, what would you have done to Obama then?
Throw him a parade.
Yeah.
You asshole. Now I won't push you in the fucking gator pit. I'm just kidding. I don't want to do that. But no, I mean, Trump, like, I think a few good smacks or fucking punches to the face and head, like, hey, where's our wall, asshole? Like, that kind of thing. Yeah. But I mean, at least like Obama, that asshole made complete communist scumbag apologizing for everything America ever did. And by the way, his last year in office, I should pull up a screenshot of the article now, but don't worry about it. Approximately 27,000 explosives dropped upon the Middle East his last year in office, and this asshole got a peace prize. Nigga, what?
He dropped more bombs in the Middle East than any other president. Dropped more bombs and spent more money than like all the presidents combined. So the dude's
killed a lot more Muslims than Tom Petty ever did.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing about that too is, like you're just. I do want to talk. Like, okay, I'll just say it. If you guys don't mind, like the Trump thing. I understand why so many people are pissed off. Like what it is with the wall thing. That's my biggest concern, because there are other issues. Like he let that shitbag Hillary go. You want to talk about who should really lose some limbs? See, we got to be careful saying stuff like that. But she's definitely on that list, hypothetically, of course, right? But it's like. Stuff like that. Okay, you can let it go. You can let it go to an extent, right? But then it becomes exponential, and it's like, okay, at what point do we start, like Ann Coulter said, holding you accountable? And then he calls Ann Coulter a nut. It's like, dude, he could have declared a state of emergency like many yesterdays ago, and used the military to fund this goddamn thing. Like there really is no excuse. He's moving the fucking embassy to Israel with well, how do I want to word this? Let's just say certain globalist elite assholes with very interesting little caps frequently on their heads or what have ya talk about a shower. Yeah.
President
they can be
Kushner.
very. Yeah, oh yeah, he's a piece of shit. Now you better tell me, he definitely deserves to be eaten limb from limb by alligators. Am I right or wrong?
Many people deserve to be. He probably is one of them.
French Revolution time. It's just really let's it's a class thing, and this is why we need to vote burn, because Democratic National Socialism will fix all of this.
Bernie will guillotine the 1%.
Exactly. That's what we're looking for here.
Yep.
I'd like to feed Bernie to crocodiles.
We got way off topic, so
yeah.
I hope you enjoyed the conversation there, public peoples.
Yeah, Mr. Public Man.
Mr. Public dude out there.
We should Hey, let me say this about Bernie, though, because, it's one thing to joke about this stuff, but there are legitimately, I really do legitimately feel that Trump does deserve to be punched in his face a bunch of times, and I don't think he's ever had that happen to him with his loftiness. I get why people hate Trump, but it's like when you see the Antifa assholes and these leftist SJW self-white hating scum, it's like, you know what I'm saying? It tears at you. It's like, am I going to join these pieces of shit in hating this guy? Like, I hate the lesser of the two evils argument, but you see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Well, that doesn't...
Guy fucked up.
Yeah, that's the dude did not do so far what he was elected to do.
He's actively doing some stupid stuff. He's propping women up, which, bro, put your women back in the goddamn kitchen. I mean, what the fuck are you thinking? Where you're going the opposite way, bro. We need to get bitches back in the homes to raise children, so that we can not have such an inflated crime rate because of single motherhood and fucking the state raising your kids. Well, no shit.
Okay, Scotty, now there's some feminist watching this that wants to feed your balls to alligators live.
Yeah, and she also wants me to fuck the hell out of her, because behind every feminist is some bitch that just wants to get railed in her asshole by a fucking Nazi, okay? Which I'm not, but that's what she wants.
Yes.
It's biology.
It's
this
proven.
is biology.
It's proven. It was in...
I don't know if it's
in that
proven,
one book, 50 Shades of Mein Kampf.
Yeah.
Damn, that is some riffing. I was gonna say Anne Frank's Notebook, but that's an even better
Frank's
one.
Notebook.
I was thinking about going that
Glad you
way,
like
but
that.
That's good.
I was trying to work Helen Keller into it somehow, but it didn't work out.
I knew he was gonna have a Clerks reference in there.
I've never seen
Anyway,
Clerks, but that's another story.
Wasn't that from Clerks? Helen, you're as blind as Helen. Yeah, Randall said that. Anyway, okay, so yes, I don't know who's this is even going to end up on, but that's fine. So yeah, the point is that you guys are right. I mean, I feel like this is mostly your video, so I'm sorry I kind of derailed it. But yeah, I mean, all kidding aside, certain individuals getting fed to alligators like Antifa members and certain people from the left and right, I think we can agree that would not be such a tragedy, like, for real. Not that we're advocating doing that directly.
It would solve the population problem, and I think this is...
for the environment, because global warming's a real issue, and vote burn.
Yeah, I think Yang's working on something like that, too, the alligator plan. $1,000 in an alligator.
$1,000?
Let me say this about Bernie real quick, too, and then you guys, however you want to do the rest of this video, because the main focus is the hypocrisy that, look, a bunch of Muslims in an African country, not that really matters, but a bunch of Muslims killed a bunch of Christians and nobody gives a shit.
Yep.
And then look at the hypocrisy that Brenton Tarrant
Tom Petty.
killed a bunch of Muslims, and he's the most evil monster on earth and whatever.
Yeah,
in people's minds.
The media has never given a shit about African Christians, no matter how black and African and underprivileged they are, no matter how much Bono would claim to love them for everything about them. The media does not care about the black African Christians. When I was a kid, I went to Sudan, and it stayed in Khartoum, where it's pretty much Arab run, Muslim run, and the dude who was driving us around there was this very, he's as dark as these folks, Southern Sudanese, and just Christian, and telling us about how his village down in Southern Sudan, how just brutally massacred and oppressed they've been for years. And this is, and there's nothing ever about that in the news.
And they all have AIDS.
They started talking about the Arab genocide of the black African Sudanese when they started killing black Muslims. They didn't mention it when the Arab Muslims are killing black Muslims, then it's a genocide, then it's a problem. But when they're killing black Christians, that's not a genocide at all. That's fine. That's good. But
that's a good point.
Yeah,
I mean, because clearly the U.S. that cares so much about freedom and democracy, not to totally bash the country, because there are some really, really good, valuable things, arguably, about this country, but then there's a whole lot of rottenness in certain ways, too. The thing is, remember the Rwandan genocide when we were little shits? And, the U.S. did so much to alleviate that situation, right? Because they care about democracy and freedom.
Installed communism, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now,
after the fact.
Yeah.
After how many of those individuals killed each other. Yeah. One last thing about Bernie. Well, it's definitely, from you fuckers, it's not going to be the last thing, but it's okay. I get it. They're on a campaign, everybody. Vote. Yeah.
Feel the burn
I can't even,
deep in
I
your
can't
loins.
I fucking alligators now. Gas the herons, alligators now? I don't know. Actually, the herons are alright birds. Now, the point is that, like, with Bernie, I actually thought he was alright, and at the time I can't use the F word about myself that I would, but I was a good little F blank GYE little, like, social progressive a few years ago, right? And everybody loved Bernie. Everybody young, white, middle class, and upper, like all these.
He was no good then. His platforms changed to the new Democratic National Socialism. Now he's a warrior for whites. In the day, he wasn't.
Yeah, but the first time around when he was up there in the Democrat primary against Hillary, that's I was all about Trump then, and I was also all ANCAP. So it was just Bernie. This platform is terrible. Haven't you ever read an economics book? I've shared so many of those super edgy ANCAP memes about economics back in those days, and hated Bernie Sanders. We ridiculed him mercilessly for a while, but now with his new platform, it's happening. It's on. It's on, just like corn.
And if somebody were to take the bait of this, which I'm a dumb bitch for doing, but if somebody were to ask you what is his new platform that has you goyles so up in a twist form, what would you say?
Democratic National Socialism. Okay?
Yeah,
he's going to fix all the world's problems.
It's not socialism.
He's socially conscious. He's environmentally conscious. He's going to, eliminate many people from the earth to save the environment.
He's going to build the wall out of hemp and legalize it federally.
Yep.
Won't it just be smoked away or eaten away or braceleted away?
Braceleted away.
Yep. And
and
don't forget
that conjugation of a verb. Yeah.
The end goal of the one world apartheid government. So his new platform's looking pretty slick.
Yeah.
Well, if that were his platform, I'd say feel the burn too, bro. But I can't. But I'd like to believe it is. So I'll
You got to
humor
read
you
between
guys
the
and-
lines. He's dog whistling, but that's what it is.
Oh, I see. Okay, you got to put on the special glasses. Read
Yes,
between the lines.
he's a white male, ergo
Yep.
rock and roll.
Well, he's technically a member of a certain tribe. That's
a
not
religious
exactly
group.
White.
Yep.
Oh yes, sure.
Yep.
Not ethnic
Completely
at all.
only a religious group. And
Yes.
yeah, he's a white
Yes.
male, and he's the last white male Democrat, and we need a
Beto.
you know, yeah. Well,
You know
Beto,
his
I don't
wife
want to
was-
he's a
talk about
Mexican.
Yeah, no, I saw on Tucker C last night. That's not his real name. I forgot what his real name. Robert.
Yeah, Robert O'Rourke.
Oh no.
Yeah, the
But whatever,
Blarney
yeah.
Stone.
Yeah, and Tucker, by the way, was trolling hard on that. But
Oh, in the chat. Oh, you're talking about the Twitch.
no,
Yeah.
I'm talking about Tucker C, my boy, Tucker Carlson.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Tucker
Yeah,
Carlson. Then I'm like, I thought it was a buddy. Okay, sorry. I have dumb bitch blonde moments. I should get back in the kitchen. No, real quick. Bernie's wife looks like a cross between a fat old hippopotamus and a fat old dog in drag, and she's. Thank you. I didn't think I desered that, but thank you.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But no, all look stuff aside, she's been investigated and is now supposedly being investigated for fraud regarding a school or several operations in relation to a school that she supposedly proposed or was part of.
Are you talking about Bernie's wife?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was
That was back in the day.
That was shortly after Trump got elected. That came out, and yeah, I remember driving that one on in. She apparently, I think she appropriating funds for a various school project to build up I don't know, some communist nonsense. But
Can we see a picture of Bernie's wife? I want to just be a dickheadish cunt and
dude,
let the
she's a total fox, bro.
let the
why else
inner
would
queen out.
a
She's a
Chad
total
like
fox
Bernie?
There he
dog.
is. I know, I'm just jealous. Well, look, the point is, with Bernie, it's just like that's going on, and she's involved with embezzling or stealing or defrauding tens of millions of dollars at least. And meanwhile, he knew about this, obviously, and he goes on and says, white people don't know what it's like to be poor. It's like, what an asshole, dude. That's why I hated him after that. And then even when I was semi-socialistic and a disgusting social leftist, I still was kind of uncomfortable with him. But I mean, maybe he's walked back some of the, I think I know he apologized for that afterwards, to be fair.
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh God, she looks like John.
What's up, baby? What's up, baby?
She looks like John Goodman's little brother in drag. Oh God, that's one ugly bitch. Oh,
Stop that.
There are
It
some-
makes no sense.
Bernie looks like Mason Verger from fucking
From what?
Crocodile.
Yeah.
Yes, to say I've been exonerated
Hannibal.
of my crimes.
Oh
yeah,
no.
that picture.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
so
I hate-
that's the deal.
Sorry,
there.
I hate.
Yep. I think.
No, look.
We're at 30 minutes.
Okay, I should familiar myself. Excuse me. What a moron! Grammatical fail. What are you from the fucking inner city, bitch? I should familiarize myself with Bernie's newer platforms. To be fair, do I think he's like this evil, terrible piece of shit? Not really, but I don't know. I think he's just kind of an asshole. But if you guys say he's a democratic national socialist, then
Yes.
Heil. But
Bro.
yeah,
then he's
he's
great.
not a socialist. It's
No, not
demo-
a dirty socialist.
No,
It's democratic.
it's-
They're voting
Right.
to apply violence to steal money.
Yes, it's democratic national socialism, and that's just fine. That's just fine.
That's interesting. I wonder how the broader left that you guys are now reaching out to, because you're all about people and humanism,
Oh,
right?
huge.
So
Yes.
yes,
And the environment.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that you actually are, and I probably should be more so too. But I'm not an eco-fascist like our
that's
friend
the way to go
Terrence.
here. But what's that? There's this book. I just started getting into. I got a PDF on my computer. They're hard to read, but it's called Impeachment of Man by Savitri Devi. I recommend everybody.
I've heard of him.
I've
heard of him.
Yeah, dude, she's total
her.
Bernie bitch. She
I'm
would
an
be
idiot.
if she was alive today, but she's a total
stupid.
eco warrior.
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's interesting. All right, but the point is, before I guess you guys want to close this out, because this is just a fun little session putzing around here. Oh God, did I really use one of their words? Ugh. Anyway,
Oops.
Not talking about any group in particular.
You mean
but no,
white peoples? Like
okay,
Europeans?
yes, of course. Right,
Eastern
them.
Europeans, right?
Yes. How I guess with what Obscene has been known for in the past, which of course is humanism, tolerance, equality, and peace for all, how do you see your trajectory going forward repping the democratic national socialism for the broader left?
Well, first off, take out that equality nonsense. Everything else can stay.
Yeah, that isn't very democratic or national or socialist.
Yeah, it's not any of those. You can't. Equality's nonsensical. It doesn't exist.
We wouldn't need socialism if there were equality.
Yeah.
And we certainly wouldn't need democratic national socialism if there were equality.
You wouldn't need government if there was equality.
Yeah, so democratic national socialism will make the equality more equal.
Yes.
And will make the freedom more free.
It will. See?
Are
you getting it? This is simple stuff.
The democracy will be more democratic, and the capitalism will have more capital. The socialism, it'll be a lot more social.
It'll be like a social party.
Yes, it'll be a social party.
Now, I grasp. However, double entendre. Don't just strike that. But how will? Like, the leftists are obsessed with, and we mean social leftists, right? Like economic, I don't give a shit what your economics are personally. I see why people think they're important, but I don't give a fuck. I give a fuck about socially, philosophically, morally, what are people doing to each other or want to do to me, and who's bringing who
Economics
over here
has a lot
against
to
our
do
will.
with that, which is why it's so hard to separate. Fortunately.
It can. It can and does. You're right. So, the point is, like, with Democrats and social progressives, even communist pieces of shit. Now, you better tell me that they belong in the alligator pit limb from limb, or I'll fucking leave right now.
Oh, we're very... Communism's not cool, but Bernie Sanders will tell you 1,000 times he's not a communist.
No.
He's democratic national socialist.
Yes, entirely.
Do you support Bernie Sanders, the Führer, throwing the communist pieces of shit that are throwing rocks at people even for being remotely right-wing? Do you support Bernie Sanders throwing those communist Antifa scum into the alligator pits limb from limb?
Oh, yeah.
As long as we all vote on it.
Okay, then I love you guys. I love you, Goyles.
Yep.
Go ahead. You could say anything else. Just go ahead.
Yep. As long as it's democratic.
As long as you give me
Gotta
that.
be democratic.
Yep.
Everybody gets a vote.
Yes, okay, we'll vote.
Yep.
We'll vote for it. Okay, so, but the last thing with it is that I am enjoying picking your brains with this stuff. I never thought I'd be in this position, having a debate with you guys about supporting Bernie Sanders and believe women and me too. But no, not those things. But how would you talk to people like that who are obsessed with equality, who don't understand that we're not equal by the merits of nature? People are different heights. People are good at different things. It doesn't mean we can't strive for some level of equality or humanism in some areas, right? But how do you explain to an SJW blue-haired feminist with 26 cats that wants you castrated about a democratic national socialism?
The answer is emotionally.
Okay, well, that's all they understand.
Don't make a point.
Yep. Now,
You talk to them like how we're talking to you right now.
Yep.
Okay, which is not Talmudically at all.
No.
And
God, no. We make perfect sense.
And there is no, there's absolutely no difference of intent and words either. We mean everything we say.
Of course.
This isn't one.
Why else would we say
this
it?
This isn't like this asshole named Michael Lutz from a long time ago, aka Icarus, from some old troll thing from like 11 years ago that I knew about, said, "How do you know this is not one big elaborate troll?" Of course, you gentlemen are not trolling at all. I mean, there's no way you.
I think I heard Jared Howe bring this up in some various social network today, talking about Poe's law, and I looked into it, and that's what Poe's law is. Like, is this nigga serious? Basically.
Yep.
That's Poe's law in urban speak.
Yep.
I know Poe. Shit, I got a Poe piece from that nigga. Yeah, that did not come out of my mouth. Okay, so I got it. So you're saying instead of the right wing and the far right just attacking with one prong in that direction, you're saying that maybe, not you guys, of course, but maybe people from the far right, possibly even the dreaded alt-right or pro-whites or whoever,
Alt-right
right, could We'll talk about that another time.
Alt-right was a
But
Hillary
here's-
Clinton conspiracy. She created it with her speech, and there never was an alt-right. People just like
she
to think
largely
there
did
was.
give it credence.
It was a
She
social
largely did
construct.
Yeah. All right, with
Kinda
social
like
concept, bro. For
Yep.
sure.
Like sex, race, height,
Yep.
everything.
But
right.
but yeah, they're I think that all the people who want to actually achieve something that have things in common that they can agree upon, whether ideologically, which of course ideology is bullshit. Just it's only democratic National Socialism from here on out. But whatever group you fall into, you can advocate for your own group through entirely different means. You don't have to be an autist and go out and hammer, like IQ statistics at people or crime rates. You don't have to just share edgy memes, which
Just
is
show
the
them
the next branch of the strategy. You don't have to just pretend like you're some kind of, extremist in any kind of way. What you can do is you can find somewhere safely in the middle and just kind of
Surf, bro. Surf the wave.
nudge and yes, ride
Show
that
them pictures
wave.
of dead kids. That really helps.
Yes.
Yeah, please, not on this channel. We'll get flagged.
No, we won't. But I go to
yeah.
a bar. I got a pocket. I got a special pocket in my wallet where I just keep tons of photos of dead children. And then when I'm arguing some political dialectic with some leftists, I'm like, pull it out, show them, be like, this is what you do.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Then you just gotta describe how they do, how this guy equal dead kid, and you win the argument.
And how they support the 1% inherently,
Yep.
and always got to bring it back to the 1%, the
dead
corporations.
kids, good stuff.
Yeah.
Scotty, I thought that pocket was for something else.